Hi, this video is going to focus on effective strategies for giving feedback. Before we talk about the strategies, let's define effective feedback. What is an effective feedback? Effective feedback is a statement given to the learner for the purpose of improvement. Feedback could be given verbally or in written. Regardless of whether it is given verbally to students or in written, the feedback should aim to help students to understand where they are against the learning targets and what is it that they can do in order to improve or to be able to achieve the set targets. It can be considered effective if it will guide the students to perform better in the assigned task or activity. True, sometimes we appraise students, we try to boost their morale, we try to motivate them to keep going, but for us to consider what we tell them as effective feedback, it has to be specific, it has to be target-oriented, it has to be linked to the standards and the learning objectives, and it has to be derived from the work that they have done before or they're doing in order to complete the task assigned to them. Let's look into the essentials of feedback, which I believe are 7. When we consider how to structure or to come up with the effective feedback, and we take into consideration those 7 outlined essentials, then we will be definitely helping our learners to achieve what we have requested from them in the best possible manner. The first one, which is goal reference. Today, when a student is doing something, he is completing a worksheet, he is solving a problem, he is completing a project, whatever this learning opportunity has to do with the student, definitely it was designed by the teacher based on the learning objectives outlined in that lesson plan. So when I want to give the feedback, it has to be aligned with that same standard, which was the driving force behind the learning opportunity. Let's take an example. Students are solving a mathematical question, and I feel that at some point they were unable to know what to do next. Okay, then when I want to give them feedback and give them a hint or to guide them to the next step, I need to remind them of the learning objective outlined, or I might remind them of a prerequisite or a previous knowledge that they should have mastered in order for them to carry on. So the feedback has to be bound to the standards, to the learning objectives, and to the targets. The second part or point is related to the tangibility and transparency of the feedback. I have to be honest to the student. I have to be able to show him where he is against what is expected. And by that, I need to look into his work, to highlight and appraise what he was able to do and achieve, and then to talk about the next steps. The feedback should be comprehensive for the learners. They should know what you mean. They should be able to understand what is it that they are supposed to do to further improve what they are doing. It has to be tangible in the sense of students find what the teacher is saying as practical and doable. It cannot be beyond their abilities and beyond their reach. Otherwise, they will not be able to use it and to make use out of it. The third point, which is actionable. What do we mean by actionable? Today, when you give a feedback to the learner and you instruct them to think about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we need to ask ourselves the question, are those statements going to help the student to perform in a better manner? Is the student going to take those statements and do a better work to get a better product? Can he do an action based on what he heard? The fourth point, which is user-friendly. The whole aim of giving feedback is to help the student. So if I use complex sentences, sophisticated words, too many adjectives, the student will not be able to use it. When we think about the verbal or written feedback, we have to use simple sentences, we have to use simple words, we have to refer to things in a direct manner, because the whole aim is to guide the student, not to complicate things for him. The fifth point is timely. Let's suppose that we gave a student a project and they are required to do it over a span of 3 weeks. If I will come and give them the feedback just 2 days before the deadline, this will be a very short notice. The feedback has to be given within an interval of time that will allow students to think about it, to comprehend it, and to reflect on it to improve their work and to be able to achieve it. Ongoing. I cannot today give feedback to students once and stop at that point. No, I have to make sure that I am next to them, supporting them throughout. I give them a feedback at the beginning of the project, considering a certain checkpoint, or at the beginning of solving a mathematical worksheet or writing a narrative essay. Then towards the middle, I will see the progress and provide feedback based on it, and then towards the end. So the teacher has to be very active in terms of monitoring the progress that they're doing and helping them, because they might complete phase 1 in a good manner, but phase 2 was not completed in a good manner, so at the end the product is not meeting that success criteria. And the last point, which is related to consistency. Students will improve and will be able to do better attainment if they have established a specific routine, if they know what is required from them, and they have clear guidance that is consistent in terms of the requirement. Today, I cannot on day 1 comment on something when students are doing the work, and then tomorrow I comment on something different. If my focus, for example, in English is on sentence structure, then I have to give feedback day 1, day 2, day 3 about the same thing in order for them to know what is the progress that they have done against that. I have to be consistent among everyone as well. I cannot, for example, comment on language acquisition in a piece of writing for one student, and then for the other student comment on the handwriting, and on for the third student, that this will set confusion among students. I have to be consistent. I cannot today ask for something, tomorrow ask for a completely different thing.